pagtutulungan, walang kupas na kaugalian. Nagtagatibay, sinasabuhay, galak sa puso ay walang kapantay. Panahon na naman ang brigada, pagbigisin lakas at diwa. Tara na brigada na, Brigada Eskwela, magkaisa sama-sama. Brigada Eskwela, salin na buong barkada. Brigada Eskwela, kilos na pagbayanihan na. Ikaw ako, tayong lahat, hawak kamay, sabay-sabay, kapit-bisig, buong bayan. Tara na, kumilos na. Tulong-tulong sa pagsulong, hatid na kalidad sa edukasyon. Sa kabataan, saya at dunong, buong madla sabay na aahon. Panahon na naman ng brigada, pagbigisin lakas at diwa. Tara na brigada na, Brigada Eskwela, magkaisa sama-sama. Brigada Eskwela, salin na buong barkada. Brigada Eskwela, kilos na magbayanihan na. Brigada Eskwela, kilos na magbayanihan na.
Ang Brigada Eskwela, ang pagkaurusa ug ang pagburublikanay ang mga eskwela, mga magturutto ug ang mga tawo hausa nga komunidad, sugadan opisyales sa barangay, mga kag-anak, mga non-government organizations ug ang iba pa nga sektor nga gusto bumulig para mapalimpyo, maprotektaran nga niandam ang eskwelahan o liburan ha pag-abrihan klase.
Everyone, let us warmly welcome the mother of our Department of Education, our Honorable Secretary, Leonor Magbrigada. Let's watch this video, please. Salamat po.
Directors and our SDSs, all of us in DepEd, I would like to congratulate them for forging on in spite of the challenges. So what is the call to action? For me, the call to action that I would like to share with you is to stop all this noise of finger pointing and blaming. Let us go on with what we have, what we can do, what we are able to raise. We all know that this new variant was not produced in the Philippines. It came from outside. We all know who brought it in, and that is also very clear. We all know what are its characteristics. And so these are the factors that we have to deal with as we struggle, as we try to deliver the constitutional mandate of quality education for all learners, and not just for those who can afford it. So let us stop all the finger pointing, all the blaming, etc. Let us focus on our work in the Department of Education. The President has already agreed that he will allow us to open schools on September 13. Let us keep a very close watch on how developments turn out, because as you know, we are keeping a very strict eye on the national capital region for obvious reasons, and we are also worried, of course, about Visayas and Mindanao, because the variant somehow entered Visayas and Mindanao through a southern city, not through NCR. It's not a creation of any political administration. Came from outside, and we say, why were they allowed to enter, etc., etc. But let us look also at what is happening in the other countries. So, one, let us focus on the challenge that we are facing. Let us not forget our motto, our call that education must continue. That education has to be for all and not just for NCR or for Cebu or for the North, but also for the entire country. Now, also, the second challenge which I would like to share with you is we must learn from our experience last year. Last year, we did things for the first time, and we were beaten up because the expectations, as I said, was perfection. But this was the first time we had to face a challenge, the way we faced the challenge last year. Very unpredictable environment, very noisy political circumstances, as well as a series of natural disasters, and a virus which refused to be disciplined and which refused to be kept out and which entered our country nevertheless. But we learned lessons here on the use of materials. We learned that it's not only the Department of Education which produces materials, but there are also those who produce materials and sell them in the name of the Department of Education. We learned, for example, that there are those who produce obscene, bastos, or politically inappropriate material and blame it also on the Department of Education. We learned that it is so easy to blame and demand under very, very difficult circumstances. But we also learned that we can continue. We also learned that we can adjust, and we were adjusting along the way. One of the biggest challenges, as you all know, of course, is the matter of assessment, because we cannot assess the performance of our learners the way we used to assess the performance of our learners, or assess even the effectiveness of the new, not really new, of the blend, the mix of learning techniques that we were endeavoring to put together. Suddenly, we had 100 million experts on education who were never satisfied with what we tried to do. And so, we learned from that. This time, as we move on to September 13, we will be watching every day, as advised by the Department of Health. The risk assessment is still very crucial. Whether we have face-to-face, whether we will use a particular approach or not, whether our students will be allowed to go out. And we are also watching what is happening in other countries. We are frequently told, for example, that all countries are already doing face-to-face. This is not necessarily true, because I have distributed, I have shared material from the Department of Foreign Affairs where all the countries are listed and the extent to which lockdowns have been occurring in school. We are not the only country which might go into this response for education. To say that we are the only one without face-to-face, I don't think that is accurate, because we have been watching what our neighboring countries, our neighboring ministries of education are also doing. What is happening in Thailand is a surprise. What is happening in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and even in Singapore is a surprise. So, hindi naman tayong nag-iisa with the kind of problems, with the kind of challenges that we are facing. So, pangalawa yan, we learn from the past. Third, we must innovate because like it or not, the world is still moving along. Like it or not, technology is still changing. Even as we are struggling with this pandemic, even as we are trying to learn more about this virus, which is so terrifying and which is so horrifying for many of us, and we demand, as I said, perfect answers, perfect actions, and endless amounts of resources. At the same time, as I said, we have to innovate. We continue innovating. We continue learning from what the lessons that we learned from the past.
Ma'am Maria Gemma Mercado Ledesma.
DepEd Eastern Visayas is one with the entire nation in braving the threats of the COVID-19 pandemic. As we open the school year 2021-2022, DepEd Region 8 commits to continuously embrace the challenges of the school opening. Together with the 13 schools division offices, DepEd Regional Office 8 has enhanced its basic education learning continuity plan to ensure that it is responsive to the learning needs of our diverse learners. The COVID-19 in so many ways has changed our way of life, but it has not changed our commitment to be of service to our fellow countrymen. We have proven that no pandemic can stop us in being the educational movers, delivering our services, and staying true to our commitment of providing quality basic education. Today, we feel blessed that despite the challenges, we are here as one family, ready to achieve our aspiration to develop self-propelled learners who can contribute meaningfully to nation building. Together with our proactive and supportive stakeholders, our education partners, the families, and the communities, we will strengthen our efforts to sustain our initiatives in ensuring learning continuity. I call upon every DepEd Region 8 employee to work together to ensure that every child in Region 8 enjoys the right to quality basic education even in the midst of this health crisis. The challenges are at hand, but with all of us working together, I know we will survive this most challenging time. This year's theme, Bayanihan para sa Paaralan, truly embodies our commitment to contribute to nation building by promoting quality basic education in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. With our heart and mind fixated on performing our mandates, there is no reason for us to fall behind in achieving our sustainable goals for education. To our valued stakeholders and education partners, I sincerely thank you for sharing with us the responsibility in providing quality basic education to all the learners of Eastern Visayas. Our sustainable and innovative partnership engagement will surely create great impact to the society by making our learners realize that the entire nation is actively involved in preparing a bright future for the generation. On behalf of my DepEd Region 8 family, damo nga salamat han iyo padayon nga pagsuporta para han pag-aram han aton kabataan habot nga han krisis. Welcome to the 2021 Regional Brigada Eskwela Kick-Off.
Schools Division Superintendent of the Division of Leyte, I present to you Dr. Manuel P. Albano.
I want to send my warm greetings to our partners and stakeholders and to all the DepEd Leyte family who is watching now via Facebook Live. First of all, I'd like to instill in the minds of every educator out there, including myself, as the Schools Division Superintendent, that indeed, amidst difficulties, one thing is sure: the bayanihan spirit is alive and innate in us. The advent of calls for volunteer-driven relief efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic is evidence that the virtue of bayanihan thrives in times of crisis. Brigada Eskwela with the theme, Bayanihan para sa Paaralan, is a way to jumpstart the future of our learners. We are taking ahead in digitalization and translating all modalities into a new wave of spectrum in education that will set the tone in 2021-2022. We dwell in treating the old way of teaching as part of our system. However, embracing the digital world is education is not a choice but a must to answer the available learning analytics in our division.
Ha mga karuyag maghatag hin mga donasyon, aadi hin pipira nga mga kinahanglan han eskwelahan. Una, para mamentinar an kalimpyo, pwede magdonar hin dustpan, silhig o siphid, mga trapo, doormats, ngan disinfectant spray. Ikaduha, para mamentinar ang seguridad han aton maupay nga panlawas, makakabulig ang masunod: alcohol, vitamins o food supplements, face shield ngan face masks, alcohol dispenser, emergency kit, ngan thermal scanner. Ikatulo, para liwat han mga pag-ayad nga bubuhaton ha eskwelahan, dako nga bulig ang semento, pintar, paintbrush, kahoy, sim, electrical supplies, plywood, ngan raysang. Ikaupat, para liwat han aton gulayan sa paaralan, ngan mapatubo hin maupay an mga tanom, malipay namon nga kakarawton an mga lalong hin iba-iba nga tanom, garden tools, water sprinklers, recycled containers, ngan garden soil. Ikalima, hapag suporta naton hapag padayon han pag-aram bisan haluyuhan pandemya, malipayon namon nga kakarawaton an mga reading materials, school supplies, gadgets, printing supplies, ngan internet load o wifi connectivity. Kung ikaw naman inkaruyag maghatag hin voluntaryo nga serbisyo ha San Roque Elementary School, aadi hin pipira nga kinahanglan han eskwelahan: paglimpyo, pagpintar, pagpanday, ngan hin iba pa nga pwede may bulig. Damo nga salamat.
Bayanihan